you. We don't want any more visitors, well-wishers, or distant relations.
And what about very old friends?
Gandalf?
Bilbo Baggins.
Dear Gandalf.
Good to see you. 111 years old. Who would believe it? You haven't aged a day.
I hope you like that beginning because I put some effort into it. I had to do something for for this review. I just wanted to do something special, and that was the first thing that came to mind. I was like, how do I do this? Well, by fooling around with iMovie, I got to do something like that. So I had to do something funny. So obviously, yes, I'm talking about the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy. You would say, why not just do each movie by itself? Because who does just one movie by itself? Past 3 weeks, I've watched each one over the weekend. So Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King. Watched in 3 consecutive weekends, 1 per weekend. Regular theatrical version, not the extended. Yes, not the extended. But before I get into the thing, extended versions I have watched. I have watched the extended versions, and I mean, there's not really a lot of scenes in the extended that really add, because you're trying to do pacing, and pacing is an important part of film and everything, and those, some of those things don't really add a lot to the story, all that's being told, and everything, like, like real elvish rope, and I mean, yes, you get a lot of details and everything, like Aragorn's like, oh, I'm 87, and Eowyn's soup is bad. That I don't know. You also get some extra stuff at the council and everything else. But some of the scenes are just kind of jarring thrown in as far as the extended versions. Like Galadriel, in the extended version, the whole thing with the mirror and Frodo. One little thing that's brought in, she says, like, ring bearer's path is lonely. But then the extended, they actually have her say, I have the ring, da-da-da. And it's just kind of like thrown in there. It's just like, huh? I mean, it just felt like very out of place. At least the way it was filmed felt like, was that done on a reshoot? It feels like it was done on a reshoot. And it was stuck in and it just doesn't fit. It doesn't add to the tone and everything that's going on in the film. Not every scene's like that though. Like you have Saruman talking about, when Greenwood says, about the ring that Aragorn's wearing, how it shows that, and Saruman's like, oh, okay, you think he's found the line of Isildur's heir and everything like that. And then, of course, in the extended version, what happens to Saruman, well, at least in the movie versions and everything, those things, those portions actually in Return of the King, I think are probably the most valid that maybe should have stayed in, especially Saruman's portion. The thing with him holding the Palantir, I think that should have stayed in as well. And definitely the Witch King and the Mouth of Sauron, those few scenes, I was like, yeah, those should have stayed in. But the thing with Sam and Frodo pretending to have to be orcs and causing a fight, those things I can see, yeah, I can understand why those things were cut. So you have to kind of think of it from a filmmaker type of way, and I'm trying to think of things from a screenwriting way and everything like that, trying to be an aspiring screenwriter myself. Not a screenwriter yet, because I haven't written anything that's made. So I can't say I'm a screenwriter when I don't have nothing made. But the movies themselves, I did see them when they came out 20 years ago. I actually meant to do, kind of a thing like this, but I didn't watch the movies yet when, because in December 2021, which is 2 months ago from this video, it was 20th anniversary Fellowship of the Ring coming out, I was in elementary school when it came out. Oh, gosh. Seriously, I was in elementary school when that came out. I'm 30 now, just to age myself. My brother, oh my gosh, my brother was big in Lord of the Rings. Me, I was more into Star Wars. Just saying. However, just saying. Let's think of something. As I've gotten older, I appreciate the Lord of the Rings far more now, from a film perspective and everything else. I appreciate it a lot more. That I could put it in top 10's favorite movies. I have a specific 3 that are always my favorite, which will never change. But Lord of the Rings is definitely just a whole trilogy together. Together. Now, which of the 3 would I say is my favorite? All of them. I can't specifically say which one is, my favorite or not. Fellowship has a completely different feel than Two Towers, and then Return of the King also different than Two Towers. Now, I would say initially, I did not like Two Towers as much because the As a kid, before you start yelling at me, as a kid, Fellowship of the Ring was right. I liked it. It was, predominantly. It was more my brother's thing, but I did like it. Two Towers, yes, it's slower, but there's a lot of character development and everything. It's more of a journey type thing. I mean, the whole thing's a journey, right? But you know what I mean. You have the set off of the journey. This is the middle portion. I mean, a lot of people don't talk about Two Towers. They only think of, oh, yeah, Helm's Deep. But I didn't really like it as much besides Helm's Deep portion. And, of course, Eowyn. Or Miranda Otto as Eowyn, but I just think she's pretty and everything. I like Eowyn's character. I do. I love it. She's one of my top female characters. You can't go wrong with Eowyn. I'm sorry, you can't. I mean, Faramir, I'll get to the jokes later. But those are really the only things that really stuck out with me with Two Towers and Gimli being funny. But I was trying to go in because I had that still distinction going into watching Two Towers 2 weeks ago. And then when I watched it, I tried to keep open view when I was watching it again. And I loved it far more now being an adult compared to where I was as a kid. It's a much better film now than it was comparably that I remember it. And looking at the whole thing with Helm's Deep and seeing the behind the scenes, I did watch behind the scenes stuff on both theatrical and extended long time ago. Yes, I've done that. Just the effort and everything put into it. All I do is when I see that and I just think of the whole thing, what a certain producer of a certain show on HBO was saying, oh yeah, our Siege is going to be a lot better than Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, Helm's Deep. It's going to be far better than that.
You serious?
So I laugh at that. I do. I laugh at that very much. It's just like, really? And I mean, to be fair, I can't really critique the battle because I can't even watch it. Not that I even care about that show, but as soon as I remember even reading an article about that, I was like, yeah, right. And my assumption was correct. When it was uploaded to YouTube, I'm like, what am I watching? I can't even see what's going on. At least in Two Towers, I could see what's going on. So, but a lot of different things, screenwriting-wise, I was learning and reading the stuff on the side from the Amazon, because on Amazon they have the trivia stuff on the side, and I was learning some things. I'm like, oh, okay. Some things I don't remember from the appendices and all that. I mean, battles are great. Everything's great. I mean, what would you do to improve it? I don't know. How could you improve it? I mean, I know there's talk about the Rings of Power show that's coming out on Amazon. I've seen some people already say, okay, now that Amazon's making a prequel series, could they remake The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings? Leave it alone. Don't. We don't need to do that. I don't care. Don't do it. I'm still skeptical about that show either. Now, before you ask, I've only seen the first Hobbit movie, and I have to go into those with a different expectation because considering Peter Jackson got screwed over on that, because it's not really his fault. I mean, it was somebody else, and then they pulled out, and he's like, okay, I need it. He wanted it, then it's like, okay, if you're going to have me do this, I have to approach it a certain way, and they're like, no, you're doing everything CGI. But so he got screwed over in a lot of ways, so I'm not blaming Peter Jackson for that at all. It's a tremendous stress to him compared to, Lord of the Rings trilogy. So I can't be harsh on those movies as much. I've only seen the first one. When I watch all three, then we'll go from there. But, yeah, soundtrack. As soon as I hear the Concerning Hobbits soundtrack, bum, bum, da-da-dun, dun, dun, da-da-dun, as soon as I hear that, I'm just taken to a place like, yes, that's nice. I mean, what can you say about the soundtrack? Everything came together in a perfect time, and you see with the effort that's there, what stuff they did and everything. Like the scene where Frodo and Gandalf are sitting across, from behind the scenes, or sitting across from each other in the Fellowship, talking about, when he discovers, yes, that is the One Ring. They're so close to each other, but in reality, when they actually film it, they're actually very far. It's just because of the perspective, and the table itself is shifting. But you can't tell that because the way everything moves and stuff like that. It's just such on a technical level great. Now, is everything still hold up today? There are some kinks, especially I would say in Return of the King, during the Rohirrim charge, when the orcs are shooting arrows, you see all the CGI of the horses and riders are obviously that's bad. But oh yeah, and then in Two Towers, when they're charging down from Helm's Deep, Theoden charging out of the thing and stuff. The guys in the back, they're at the very back on the bridge. What the heck are they swinging at? All the Uruk-hai got knocked off. What are they swinging at? They're not swinging at anything. I mean, there's certain things like that. We still haven't even seen, even though we have the extended versions, we still haven't even seen the full movies. Like, there's stuff I remember from behind the scenes of things like there's Eowyn fighting Uruk-hai in the caves, because when those guys ran out, seemingly some got in. There's a little brief behind the thing of her fighting them in the caves, which is like, that'd been cool to see. What's that? And then there's, Eowyn's and Faramir's wedding. I mean, everyone got happy in the end. She got Faramir, which, insert meme here. So it's just, I mean, that's appropriate for that moment, right? But, I mean, there's tons of stuff that, Arwen was seemingly at Helm's Deep, but that was their initial script, and like, no, we better change that, and they took that out and changed all that and everything. So I was just like, oh, okay. So, I don't know, I'm just liking more of the technical aspects and everything. But as far as the movies, yeah, flawless. 10. All three, 10. Especially Two Towers now, I can definitely say, yeah, 10. Yeah, it's slower. Yes, Two Towers is slower. But you appreciate the slower moments because you get a lot of more interesting things that happen with it. And it hits me a little bit different now. Seemingly, according to this trivia thing, what Bernard Hill had when he was, Theoden was grieving his son, when he said, no parent should have to bury a child. That part hit me different. And everything. Because he said he actually had a woman who's lost a child, talk to him, and he has to have that line put in. From screenwriting perspective, because you have to be some flexible and everything, that line being added in just added a whole different dynamic to the film. And you really felt Theoden's pain and everything in that. And for me, I never want to lose. Whenever I get married and have kids, I shudder at the thought. I shudder at the thought of even losing my dad, who has dementia and everything, dementia, Alzheimer's, in a nursing home. But I really like that whole sequence now. I liked a lot. Anyway, I'm a little emotional. But if you want to go see some good movies, yeah, okay, it takes 9 hours to watch every friggin' thing. Okay, big deal. It's worth the investment. You'll see a good high quality. All right. Yes, the memes. Of course, the memes. Like according to the trivia on the side, the reason why Boromir, Sean Bean, is first like this, one does not simply walk into Mordor. The reason why he's looking like that is because he's reading from the script on his lap. They were rewriting the script again the night before, and they literally handed it to him, and he's like, okay. So he's literally reading the script from his lap at that moment. And it's just like, oh, okay. But that performance is one of the most legendary memes. This is a meme going on for 20 years strong. And one does not simply just eliminate a good meme. It's a good meme. How can you get rid of it? It's forever. It's timeless. All right. I've gone on long enough with this. But it's exciting. It's always good to hear and watch. The music's phenomenal. Everything was just put in place in the right time. It's a masterpiece for a reason. Don't remake it. Amazon, I don't care how good Rings of Power is. Don't remake it. The Hobbit, I don't even want to even go there. Just don't remake it. Just leave him be. Seriously, leave him be. But, all right. Thank you for watching. Have you seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy? If you haven't, you should. What's wrong with you? But go and watch them. All right. Thank you.